Welcome back to the show, guys. Today we have a special guest for you guys. I'm out here at the infamous Sityodtong LA. You can already guess who's on here. Once I said Sityodtong, please welcome to the show my man's Kru Walter, 8-time champion. Man's fought in Thailand, fought in the United States, created this gym and brought it from Thailand. Actually, it was from Pattaya, my man's Kru Walter.
Swadee ka.
Kru Walter, thank you for coming on, man.
All right.
It's good to see you again, man.
You too.
Yeah, so, last time I spoke to you, you were getting an award for Coach of the Year. Second time in a row, correct?
I think lifetime achievement. I didn't
Lifetime.
Coach of the Year this year.
Which is better, I think, right? I think.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. I'm just happy to get anything.
Yeah, you're a very humble guy, man.
Of course.
Yeah, so, Kru Walter, you've been in the game for, I think, over 30 years now, right?
Yeah, I'm kidding. It's a dinosaur.
You look good at your age, though, man. You have good abs, bro, and not a lot of fat on you, dude. But yeah, so I was talking to you earlier, and you were telling me how you moved your gym from Pasadena.
Pasadena, yeah.
Started in. To Monrovia. When did you guys move here?
It's been about 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and when it started in Pasadena, I lived in Pasadena, and then ended up looking for a little bit cheaper rent, better conditions for small businesses. Ended up moving to Azusa for a short time. That was just the opposite end of the spectrum. Ended up finding a place in Monrovia, which kind of worked out really good.
Yeah. Did you lose any of your students?
You're always gonna they come and go too, but not much.
Loyalty. Yeah, off camera we were talking about what loyalty means in this industry. Dude, I came from a traditional sport, Taekwondo, and back then, dude, it was like you went to your dojo, or even if you were to go to a different dojo, the belt system was set up in a different way. It's like they make it so you have to go to your one sensei, So nowadays, kids, I feel like, are a little bit different, especially with the immersion of MMA. You see a lot more gym hopping. I've always been curious. I'm like, do you think hopping around in different gyms benefits the fighter because they're experiencing different styles, or is it more beneficial to stick to one place and they can kind of plug up the holes in your game, because they see you every day for years and years? Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I think it's better to stick to one gym.
Yeah,
I think it's one thing to go around and do some sparring at different places and see different things and travel and soak up different things and add it to your own, repertoire of stuff. But yeah, loyalty is a big thing. And it takes time. I think with the gym hopping thing, people may think like, well, gosh, I'm not, a world champion yet. It's been 3 months. Well, you know what? It takes a lifetime. It takes a lot of work. It's like trying to be really good at playing guitar in 2 weeks. You're not going to do that. And I think settling in, the main thing is to get your foundation and your fundamentals real solid. The difference between an amateur and a professional is the professional has his fundamentals, his foundation, to where he knows each and every time, 100% of the time, I can do the basic techniques without failure. And that gives you a lot of confidence. The amateurs or the guys starting out are like, well, gosh, I hope I can pull this off. Or, no, when it comes to your basic and your fundamentals, you have to have them down flawlessly at that point. And, it shouldn't be too hard. And the other stuff is just icing on the cake. When you get into fancy techniques and things that are a little bit more complex, that's another level that you add to later, but the fundamentals are the most important thing to get down really well. In order to do that, I don't think gym hop, because you'll find different techniques and different ways to do things in these different gyms also. And, you heard the old saying, too many cooks spoil the soup. It's true. It's true. Unless you've got a faulty coach that doesn't have the experience, that is still finding his way too, that could be a problem where you may need to go to another gym. But for the most part, I think finding one place to find yourself is the most important thing.
Yeah. I think a really big aspect of Muay Thai too is just finding your people, your like community of like-minded individuals, I guess you could say. Because you go to different gyms and there's always like a different vibe, you know. Like some gyms are like a fighters only gym, hardcore, like everyone's sparring hard, training hard. You have other gyms that are more fun, you know. Maybe you just want to do it casually, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, and then you have your gyms where I've been to gyms where everyone kind of like dresses the same in a sense, you know. And you can tell you're like, oh, you guys would probably hang out outside of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's important.
It's like that in Thailand too, you know, and they don't take it lightly if someone, you know, isn't true to their name. I mean, you have to carry the name of the camp when you fight too. I mean, Sityodtong, for example, having to carry the name of the camp, which they do. That's not the real name. You know, it's the name of the camp. It's like almost like you're a racehorse or something, you know, or you're sponsored by, you know, Nike or whatever. But they do take that stuff seriously, and you know, it is part of the culture also. Yeah.
Very true, very true. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I don't. If you're the type that wants to gym hop, I'm not saying don't do it. It's your lifestyle, and you know, it's your art. But I do find value in finding your coach, especially like, I mean, a good coach will help you out more than just, you know, fighting, you know, in your life. And it takes a relationship. It takes like building that bond with someone, you know.
Yeah.
My coach is the first one to hear all my like bad stuff. I'm like, coach, what do I do? You know,
that's good. I mean, you know, the most important aspect in far as the success of an athlete is the relationship they have with the coach, and it needs to be based on honesty, to where the coach doesn't patronize them or isn't too hard on them either. I've seen some coaches, they, you know, will tell you when you look like or you're tired or you're weak or you're, you know, not cutting it, you know, but no praise either. You know, it's like training a dog. When you train a dog, you're going on a dog training. So I relate to this, you know, in psychology, in terms of psychology, you give them a reward, whether it's food or a ball or a tug or whatever, when they're doing the right behavior, and you give them a correction when they're not. The correction is using a collar or, you know, whatever it is to, you know, a leash correction or whatever, like almost like a horse, giving them the acknowledgement that is negative behavior, and then positive and negative, and you balance it out. Same with coaching a fighter. If I see somebody doing something good, I'll tell them, you know, hey, keep doing that. You're going to be a world champion. That looks good. You know, and they need to hear that. It builds them up.
We like that.
Yeah, it builds them up. You do it too much, though, and you build false hope, and, you know, it's like, okay, I like the PMTs, the point Muay Thai stuff, because, you know, we can't really do the smokers like we did in the old days, which were just like kind of, you know, just fights we did in the gyms, which was really good because the guys got a lot of experience doing that. But if you're doing too much point fighting too, you are not able to really let loose, and you also don't know what it's like to get rocked, because there's a reason why they give you a standing 8 count. When you get a standing 8 count, when you do get, you know, the little bit of birds chirping and the bells ringing in there, you know, it'll go away. I mean, it'll subside and you're able to continue and you're okay. If it's too bad, a qualified, competent referee can stop the fight appropriately, and those fights should be stopped with sooner as the amateurs than the professionals. Professionals are, you know, expected to endure a good bit more. But my point is, with, you know, just point fighting, if you never get in there and do a real one, I think it's great to get that experience, the nerves in front of the crowd. You go through the same weigh-ins and everything, but you have to progress on to fighting sanctioned bouts too, where you step it up a notch too. Otherwise, it might be a little bit, you know, inaccurate with your, you know, developing fighter.
Yeah, I think the style changes a lot too, because if you're training for like a PKB, you're dealing more with like combination speed and, you know, aggression.
You gotta be busy. You gotta be real busy. And they're great. They're great experience because it really sets them up for getting to the next step, which is a sanctioned fights, which gets them to the next step, fighting 5-rounders instead of 3-rounders, and gets them next to the next step, which is turning pro, and gets them ready for the next step, which is fighting internationally, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Like one thing I noticed is as you progress further in your fight career, the pace starts slowing down. Like when you're doing the PKVs, it's just all gas, like basic slobber knockers, you know?
It's not power oriented. That's why.
Exactly. You got the gear, you got the leather shin pads, plus they're breaking it up every skirmish, you know, they let you get your hits and break it up. Then you get to the point where you can get knocked out and you're like, all right, I can't just rush in there, you know? And then as you get, the skill level increases, you're like, okay, I gotta be smarter, I gotta conserve, you know.
Well, when you're blasting 100% too, the gas tank is emptied, right? A lot quicker when you're tapping and you're moving and you're just flicking stuff out. It's not as taxing on you cardiovascularly.
Yeah, I agree. So your first art, I believe, was, I know you did karate for a little bit, right? Formal karate, and then you went on to Jeet Kune Do.
Jeet Kune Do, yeah, I love that stuff still.
Yeah, so when you started Jeet Kune Do, that was in the 90s, and I hear a lot of people tell me how it's kind of an incomplete art because Bruce Lee never finished it. What's your experience with that? Do you feel like there's variations between different Jeet Kune Do gyms? Or?
Well, Jeet Kune Do is really, I mean, there's a common thread to it. I mean, it's what Bruce started out, which was kind of Wing Chun based. Then he discovered, realized, boxing had to be part of it. Wrestling had to be part of it. Conditioning, the karate guys in those days didn't really, I like Bruce Lee's philosophies. I mean, it was my motivation to start martial arts, seeing Enter the Dragon when I was a little kid, And my father-in-law, Ralph Castro, was a good friend of Bruce Lee's, and he was actually there when Bruce coined the term Jeet Kune Do, the way of intercepting fist, in that he fought Wong Jackman, the mafia enforcer that didn't like him teaching the foreigners, the white boys and the college students that were taking lessons from Bruce. They didn't dig that. They wanted to keep that as their own little secret weapon, And Bruce was like, and it reminded me of Kru Yatong too, my teacher in Thailand, Yatong Sananan, who taught the foreigners quite a bit, and he really enjoyed that too. It's like he had the saying, they had the saying too. I think this came from Sangchai Ranasaban actually. Morodok Thai, Morodok Globe, mean Muay Thai for Thailand, but Muay Thai is really for the world. It's for everybody, and no secrets, right? They taught you the real stuff, man. Even the Y Crews. I have a piece of paper I framed and hung on the wall of him. He wrote out the prayer to take the Mong Khan off of the fighters in the ring. And they had Sityodtong, all the old camps, they had their own Y crews. They had their own, in this case, had their own prayer to remove the headpiece, which a lot of them do the standard Buddhist Namo Tassa, Bhagavata Sama Sambuddhassa 3 times to take it off. That's pretty common, but sometimes they use another type of prayer, which is it's the ancient monks' language. I had to get it translated by the monks, and I know it and I have it. And now that is not something they're going to give out to just anybody, So that's an example of them really sharing the
knowledge.
Yeah. Getting deep into it.
Uh-huh.
So, and I'm happy to pass that on to my people and the people that train with me too, and that's something you don't necessarily find all the time.
Do you feel like the way you teach here reflects from your lineage from Thailand? Like,
for sure.
Same style, same everything?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And you kept it like the same,
Yeah, definitely. I always wanted to keep it real. When I first went out there too, one, they didn't respect the foreigners. I started in 1991. So back then, there's a picture of me at Sityodtong with one other, they call them Phalangs, one other foreigners there too. And he was from Europe, or I don't know where he was from, but he couldn't even speak English, so it's might as well. And I couldn't speak Thai back then. I ended up learning, I went to the Thai temple for 2 years and learned, and I could read and write a little bit too back then too. I lost it. But don't practice too much. Yeah. So anyway, these guys they didn't take us foreigners seriously when we were over there. And most of the foreigners would just, fight a little bit, maybe here or there for fun, for excitement, and go out and party. And, Thailand's a lot of fun. It's, it's a big nightlife and everything too. You can get in a lot of trouble. But if you're serious about your fighting, they started to take you serious too. It's, you showed some initiative and work at it. And I remember going there and them thinking, of course, at the time, being from California was even worse too, because our rules were so watered down. In the early days, you couldn't, they didn't even allow leg kicks for a long time at the beginning. And in the 90s, no leg kicks or nothing. It wasn't until the UFC came to Los Angeles at the Staples Center, it was when Matt Hughes fought Royce Gracie, that the Muay Thai community, we made kind of a petition to them too, to allow us to use elbows and knees to the head in real Muay Thai, because before then it was
kickboxing.
Yeah, when I went to Thailand, they were like, "Where are you from?" America. Oh yeah, what part? California. You guys are a bunch of pussies. I was like, "Oh my God, this was embarrassing." Yeah. I was like, at that point, I was like, I'll fight with elbows, I'll fight with knees, I'll eat the spicy food, whatever you got. Let's do it.
Stop the spicy
and
food.
And then we were cool. After that, we were good to go. But before that, it was like, got no respect.
Yeah.
Because respect is earned, right? You don't come in there and you can't buy your way into that stuff, And the thing about it too is that you might get hurt real bad.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Dude.
I remember the first time I fought at Pattaya Stadium, and God, that was tripped me out, because they had an infirmary right there in the stadium, and people were being stitched up left and right. Every fight someone was caught. And bad too. So it was a shocker.
Yeah. What was the catalyst that drove you from California to Thailand? Because you found Muay Thai down here, I'm assuming?
Okay, that's a good story too. Well, I'm from Indiana. I'm from Northwest Indiana, kind of like farm boy. Came out to California. I'm a guitar player too, so I went to guitar school. I went to GIT, which was an awesome experience. But I ended up getting back into martial arts, had some traditional karate stuff in Indiana, which was, the
katas and stuff.
Yeah, not useful for fighting. I mean, I think good for discipline, good to get the kids into it. And I've seen some guys make it work, so it's not that it's not usable, but it didn't fit me, It wasn't like my Jeet Kune Do, my style of fighting, And that's what I liked about Bruce too. And when I came to California, I ended up learning from a guy that was one of Bruce Lee's students, Richard Bastillo. And I got to train a little bit with Dan Inosanto, and Dan was Bruce's main student, but mostly with Richard, and he was awesome. He was, and he introduced me to a Thai boxer named Nanfa Si Haradecho. There's his picture on the wall, and his shorts too. He was my first Muay Thai coach. He was champion Rajdamnern Stadium. He was a really good boxer too. My dad was a boxer, so I had a little boxing experience. But not like these guys. I mean, Nanfa fought Sugar Ray Leonard in the Olympics, man. So he's a boxer, he's a great fighter. Really nice guy, too. So I started training with him. Richard Bastillo introduced me to him. He's like, Walter, I can't really only take you so far with Muay Thai. I want you to train with, they called him Lot. That was his nickname. I want you to train with Lot a little bit. And he introduced me to him, and he was really good. We hit it off right away. So I started doing Muay Thai with him, and that was it just fit. The whole thing just fit. So I trained with him a couple years. I'm getting ready to fight my first amateur fight, and he had a heart attack and died.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How old was he?
He wasn't that old. He had some kind of defect or something wrong.
The spicy food, man. Shouldn't try it.
Who knows?
Dude, I'm sorry.
You know, lots of guys get it raises your cholesterol sometimes, I think, too. All the fish sauce and the sodium.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it happened to me too, with a little higher cholesterol now. But anyway, you can control it. But the thing about him was, he was like my mentor, and you lose your mentor like that. And I had my first amateur fight coming up at that time too, and no coach, no nothing. So his best friend, Super Chai, and the whole group of them had a ceremony for him at the Thai Temple, North Hollywood. They give me all his gear. They're like, Walter, you need to go to Thailand now, right? You need to go. They wrote me a letter to get into Sityodtong camp.
Oh, you needed a letter back then?
You didn't need it, but you want to do things the right way, right?
Uh-huh.
You present them with some gifts and stuff like that, kind of the Buddhist principles.
Okay.
So I go there to Thailand. I had a Thai girlfriend at the time, too, in the States, and I went and stayed with her family in a little town called Puttamanthong. And they took me to Pattaya down to Sityodtong. And my girlfriend's mom was she was a Thai singer too, so she was real charismatic, and Kru Walter Michalowski, I could tell he took a liking to her right away and everything. So I asked her, you know, when we went to the camp, they didn't show the foreigners much. There wasn't, you know, just kick the bag, but they put you to fight, but you weren't getting the intricate technical training and the secrets.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I asked her to tell him to give me a good trainer and, you know, show me some stuff. And he did. I ended up training with the head guy, Daotong Sityodtong. He was the head coach. I think he trained Samad and then Nang Pichit and Cha Chai. I got to train with Cha Chai Paisatong, who was the best Muay Thai fighter I ever saw in my life. That dude was so
better than Sanchai?
This was way before. Okay. This was like early 90s. I remember the first time I saw him, his left kick was so insanely fast with his switch kick, was just like, it was like a machine gun. He had an army boot on one foot too. It was pretty smart in a way too, because if you ever tried kicking with ankle weights on, it's not good. It'll it can mess up your joints like that. But with a boot, it's like wearing a shoe and a little added resistance. And I tried doing it, and wow, this is harder, man. It gasses you out. You don't want to get too heavy because you don't want to mess up your joints or anything to it. But they were doing that, and this dude was just on fire. He was scary. Super nice guy, too. But that really motivated the crap out of me, seeing that and getting to train like that. And those guys really took care of me. I'd go every year. Every year, stay a couple months, come back, run out of money, go back home. And then I started fighting there and everything. Everybody started out in the bar, too. I started on the bar. And you'd fight in the bar. They had a bar called Best Friend Bar, and all the coaches from Sityodtong were the referees, and they kind of ran
like a smoker kind of.
Yeah, and it was a crazy place, man. They had a tattoo shop in the back and all these like kind of chopped. They weren't Harleys. They were like
scooters or something?
No, they weren't scooters. This was before the scooter stuff. This was real motorcycles, but they weren't Harleys. They were Japanese bikes, but they were all chopped out, and they were into that type of stuff. And it was just fun. And all the waitresses were all like lingerie, and they were hookers. You know, I mean, it's Thailand.
Yeah,
and anybody could fight there too. Like you see some Marines or service members that would be there, and they'd get in the ring and just do it for the hell of it. Or some of the Thais would fight each other and it'd be more of a show. But like if you were serious, you could go there. Like the first time I went there, I fought this guy with 53 fights in Lumpini Stadium, and it was...
Your first fight?
Yeah, it was hardcore.
How did it go?
I lost the decision, but I got cut bad too. The dude kneed me in the head, man. It was in the third round, and But I ended up neck kicking him and dropped him, and after that too. So it was a close fight, in some ways. But I knew I won, but they gave him the decision, which is going to happen. It's going to happen.
Stuff,
But good learning experience, and that's the main thing about these things. When you lose, you learn, right? And the guys that quit or they get too discouraged shouldn't have been in there in the beginning. You got to make your adjustments. Things don't always go our way, right? And when they do, we still make our adjustments. Because you want to strive to do more. And when you do poorly, you also have to make the adjustments with that to where, like, what went wrong? What was it? It can be diet stuff too. It can be trying a new supplement. It can be training. It can be gym hopping. I'm not taking enough time to really fill in the blanks and get those techniques that I really needed. My hands need to come up more. I'm not checking every leg kick. You should be able to defend against low kicks to where that. I remember the first time I went to Thailand too and just sparring with those guys, you could not kick their leg. These guys, their blocks were so good. And when you saw a lot of the fights, even still today, you ever notice you don't see a lot of leg kicks?
In Muay Thai?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it hurts when you get checked.
Because they check so good.
Yeah.
Right? They do it more now because in the 3-rounders, there's some guys doing it, and there's a lot more foreigners involved, and the foreigners are really good now, too. They weren't as good back then. But they didn't use as many, it was mostly body kicks and higher up kicks because their legs were so conditioned to blocking, and they were so good at it that you couldn't get it in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that actually brings me to my next question is, how do you feel the evolution of Muay Thai or what's your perspective on the evolution of Muay Thai going from where it was predominantly like kicks and knees, clenching, to now you're starting to see like a lot of Thais use more hands and Western, like I feel like when Dutch kickboxing came around and you started seeing like a lot of the foreigners start winning, I feel like the Thais were like, all right, we got to start getting our hands better. Maybe not do the Dutch way, but at least start working combinations and stuff, What's your perspective on that?
Okay, I think the use of more hands, they call it Muay Mat, is predominantly a byproduct of using the small gloves. Because you do a lot of more damage and you get quicker knockouts, and the knockouts are exciting.
We like the knockouts.
Yeah, and a 3-round fight's a fast pace. So it's a little bit different than traditional Muay Thai. I don't know, I like them both. I like them both. I like the old school traditional ways. I always will. But the 3-rounders, the fast pace, the heavy hands, I'd like to see more clinch work, technical clinch work. Sometimes it can get a little bit one-dimensional when someone's got one position and they're just hanging on to that for dear life, and maybe they're really good at it, but it doesn't show a lot of variations. So that's can be a problem. Also, the pace is good. One thing I think about I don't know what the career length would be on someone using small gloves, how long to be able to continue that, because, being rocked, it's nice to leave the stadium and still remember your own name.
It's bad for your hands too.
It can be, can be. So, I think they're both good. It's exciting.
I've been seeing that fights in Thailand, they've been doing 3-round fights in Thailand a lot more. And someone posted something literally the other day. I forgot who it was, but they're wondering if we're starting to see the end of the 5-rounders. I don't know. I don't think 5-rounders are ever going to go away, but I think the 3-rounders are kind of picking up more. For some reason, it's taking up more steam,
Definitely. Like I said, it is exciting. It's a faster pace. And they can put more bouts on a card. So from a promotional standpoint, it's good. But I prefer the 5-round. The 5-round is like a chapters of a book. The problem was that they kind of, did it to themselves, starting out a little too slow. And then the last round, it's like that TV show that was on Netflix, The Hurts Like Hell, where they exposed some of the underbelly of the Muay Thai and stuff, where the guys in the betting got a lot of hand in the, just dancing around in the last round because you already won, and they want to see a fight to the finish. A lot of people want to see that too. So I think it's. I don't think you'll ever take away the 5-rounders, though, because even the title fights are still going to be 5 rounds. And 5 rounds, those extra 2 rounds are a big difference. It really is. Like the first time I fought a 5-round fight, and I was so used to fighting 3-rounders, I remember, I got past the 3rd round my first time doing it, and I remember asking the corner man, Jesus, what round is it? I was like lost in a forest or something. What round is it? Damn. He was like, oh, you got 1 more. Don't worry, you're doing good. Oh, cool. And then I was fine. But I was like, I lost track of where the hell I was.
You were in space for a second.
Yeah.
I like K1 how they did the 4th round. If they're like, it was a pretty even 3 rounds, let's do a 4th.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, that was kind of cool. I agree, but that can also be disputed too. Some of the K1 fights when they did that, they were like, well, they let this guy have another chance when he didn't deserve that extra round, and it got into some controversy.
Bukau, man. Bukau got done dirty so many times, dude.
Bukau used to mop the floor with everybody in K1, man.
Yeah. I remember like K1 was like going around the world trying to find someone to beat him. They're bringing MMA fighters, all kinds of people trying to beat him, dude. Yeah. Then they finally just changed the rules. They're like, all right, no more clenching, no more sweeps,
Yeah.
Dude, Bukau just fought again recently, earlier this year, I think. Did you see that fight with that?
Yeah, he's still at it. But I don't think I'll go do too much more, though.
It's just for funsies, I think.
Yeah.
I know Thailand's trying to...
It's hard to quit.
Yeah. And the Thai government's been putting a lot of money towards, like,
they offer you better things. I even went through that myself. I was already 40, and I was getting, better offers and better money and this and that. And what the hell, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. But it wasn't a good idea to do that, because when you get... I think 40 should probably be the cutoff for most of us. I mean, definitely, I, felt it too. The recovery, I think I fought my last fight or two with a torn meniscus, and, the stuff that you recovered, the recovery takes longer. That's the main thing. When you're in a training camp and you have to do a lot of sparring, a lot of clinching, and you get dinged up a little bit, it doesn't heal up fast enough, and you're not going to have that. You need your hell week, 2 weeks out, and then your last week is just a taper where you kind of cool down with your training a little bit, and you're, healing up and getting some massage work and stuff like that more than, the work's already done. So it should be already done if you went through a decent camp. So that's an important thing to think about too, is like, how do we don't want to go in there like a piece of meat that's been on the grill for too long.
Yeah. I'm 34 now. I keep forgetting my age. I thought I was 35, but I'm 34 now. Yeah. Dude, I feel like I have some injuries that are never going to heal. My shoulder has been cracking for like 2 years now, and I'm always like, every day I wake up, I'm like, is it good yet? And I'm like, nope, still cracking.
Well, it's going to get worse.
Yeah. I look at these young bucks now going into the gym, and I'm like, damn, this fool got like kicked out of him yesterday. Here he is acting like nothing happened,
I know, man. I used to see the same thing. Well, the Thais have a little secret weapon for that too.
What's it, Thai oil? Or?
No, it's not Thai oil. It's a drink. I've taken it. I remember one time when I was in Rayong, there was a kid in our camp that just fought at Lumpini Stadium, and less than a week he was back in the camp, smashing pads and clinching and everything. He looked
Steroids.
Good to go already, right? And then I asked, my coach was Samat's older brother, the champion Gong Colony. I asked, his name's Chart, Kru Chart. I asked him, and how's he back so soon? And then he showed me this little green bottle of stuff, and it's called Ledompon. It's a laxative, really. It's a real strong. It's got like poison in it, I don't know,
it's like a detox type thing.
Yeah, it's a serious detox. Like, put it this way, you drink like maybe a tablespoon or two in some warm water and you down it, and about an hour later, you better have a good book to be on that porcelain bus. But afterwards, it clears you out. A lot of women take it too for their skin, make their skin look real nice. And the guys, they say it does something. I mean, I felt really good after taking, like, you're dehydrated and then you hydrate up and you're good to go. They say it takes the bad blood and the bruising and the stuff like that and kind of flushes your body with it, you know, and they would take that after fights. So that was kind of a little secret thing. And I used it before. It works.
Yeah. Someone told me that in Thailand, a lot of people do steroids because you can just get it like over the counter. I don't know how true that is. Maybe, do you have any insight onto that?
You can get it. I don't know about it anymore. There used to be you didn't need, you know, a prescription for nothing. You just go in and ask for it. You know, drugs or steroids or whatever. But now I think they regulate it a lot more. I think steroids are legal in Thailand though, for just like regular consumption. Yeah. But I don't know. I've never heard of any fighters using them or anything like that, though. I mean, I think that with steroids, depends on what type of compound you'd be using, because they're going to give you more muscle tissue, which is going to be more weight too. So cutting weight it wouldn't be conducive to cutting weight, is doing a cycle like testosterone or something like that. I mean, and testosterone it's in your body naturally. So I don't see anybody doing like Trembolone or some, you know, hardcore bodybuilding steroids and fighting Muay Thai. I don't think it would help you for one thing, but maybe something like these track runners used to use, what is it called? Equipoise, that the racehorses took. Maybe they could take that, but I don't know. Some of this stuff is taxing on the liver too. When anything that's taxing on the liver is going to make you a little bit more tired, you know, maybe you're not going to have the cardio. If you could get something that's more of a like track athlete, a cardio oriented, you know, like maybe the blood dopers in the Olympics did or something like that. But I never heard of it being used in Muay Thai. No.
I think that because my best use case for steroids in Muay Thai, I think it would be just for the everyday training, just to help with the fatigue, the muscle fatigue.
Yeah.
And, you know, so you can keep training like the next day without being so sore and the recovery, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, I think when it comes to the overall fighting, the benefits and the cons are kind of like even it out at the end of the day, you know. Plus, you see like a lot of those steroid users, they get like a big ass belly, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. 'Cause it makes all your organs bigger. It's like, you know what I mean? So it's just a lot more stuff you're gonna have to cut out later.
True.
Yeah. Or and a bigger target too. Do we got bigger liver to hit, you know?
Yeah. But bigger means more weight gain though too.
Very true. Very true. How do you feel about the celebrity like boxing that's been going around? Do you think that they'll ever have like a celebrity Muay Thai or something?
That would be great. I'd like to see that.
I've been pushing for that.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I think that'd be a cool thing. I hope they do.
Yeah. I think that'd be cool. And I think the best thing about that too is you'll start seeing real money get put into it. You know?
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because it's like I said earlier, I'm 34. It's like people my age are starting to stop fighting now. They're starting families. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that should be your peak.
Yeah, it's just because money, you know?
Yeah.
It's like at this age, it's like we're having
You don't get paid enough and it takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of travel.
Insurance.
Yeah.
Expensive.
Discipline. Yeah. Discipline's the main thing, and the maintenance of it too. The most important thing about a fighter, if I could give any recommendation to fighters coming up that are aspiring to get into this type of thing, is to maintain yourself is so important if you can. And you don't want to when you're young. You're like, well, I got a few years yet. I'm good. No, but those few years go by and now you're like, oh, I want to fight. Yeah. You know, you're too old and you're too busted up and you've been drinking too much, you know, or maybe you got a little, you know, drug habit or something on the side, or you like to party your ass off on the weekends and that becomes weekdays. And, you know, it can be, well, we're extreme people. You know, fighters are extreme people. I used to like to party. I've been clean sober for years now, but you know, for a while there, I was like, yeah, I train hard and I party hard. But after a while, that partying hard thing catches up with you. And when you retire from fighting and you're still maintaining that, it's like your diet. You're not going to be able, you don't burn as many calories, so why are you eating as much? It's like, and the same thing goes with alcohol too. I mean, if you're not, working out, if you're not really active, why are you still, maintaining that type of, training and being clean and running every day and everything. And then after your fights, you just go into this partying type of atmosphere and eating all this bad food. And then you stop when you got a fight coming, and then you train for that fight, and then you are celebrating, or you're so busted up, you're killing the pain. And, it's like a cycle. But if you can maintain your level of nothing too extreme or anything like that if you do party, but I recommend just cut it out. And then you're able to, because you might get good offers and last minute offers to do a really good fight, good show, or good money or something like that. You're not ready. You're not ready. And then you either just take it off, I'll do it. And then you don't look good. Yeah. Or you don't do it and you never get that opportunity again because you weren't ready. So that's the most important thing I see that I could pass on is try to maintain yourself, as solid as you can on a good maintenance. That's why it's good to be with a good coach. It's why it's good to be at a good camp, because it's a lifestyle. And the lifestyle habits really matter, and if you got a lifestyle that's a little too, we're fighters too, so we're a little crazy. Yeah. You make that work for you. So you got to channel that stuff properly, because if you don't, that little bit crazy can turn into a train wreck.
It's the addiction gene,
Yeah.
It's addicted to Muay Thai,
addiction
you
to
addicted to something else,
What's his name? Who said that? The weightlifter, C.T. Fletcher. Obsession is a necessity.
Yeah.
Right? And it's true. Mm-hmm. It's true. But your obsession, if it spills into the wrong area, it can be extremely dangerous.
Yeah. Did you think that your party, were there any instances where you felt like your partying had closed the door on certain opportunities?
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely. Yeah. No doubt. Yeah. So it just, like I said, you were too extreme for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're going to Cambodia next week.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Cambodia, it's... my fighter Wilson Ha is fighting on, he's going to be one of the members of the U.S. team that's going. I think there's 5 or 6 of them. And I'm one of the coaches that's going to be going. I think the other coach is Hung from Hardworks, yeah. And I don't know if Hung's Vietnamese or Cambodian.
Vietnamese.
Yeah. So
I think he's half Vietnamese and half Thai or something. I know he was born in Thailand, but
okay.
But I think he's.
Well, he and I are the coaches, and it should be fun. I've never been to Cambodia. I mean, I spent a lot of time in Rayong, which is pretty close to a Cambodian border, and it was hot, man. I remember a lot of bugs too. But I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been there, and Wilson's in great shape, and he's. I think he'll do really well.
Yeah, he came back. He was in Thailand last year, right?
Yeah.
So he stayed. How long was he out there for?
A couple weeks. Yeah, a couple weeks. Fought at Rajdamnern Stadium again.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And he was at Sityodtong.
Pattaya. Yep.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like our home place.
Do you send a lot of students out there? Do you guys have like a summer trip or something? That's real cool.
And I take a tour every year too in November. I'm going to go again this year.
That's beautiful.
You can go with us if you want.
I'd be down. Yeah. Let me know. Let's go.
Yeah.
I actually want to come take one of your classes one day.
Please.
I don't know if you're teaching today or
not today, but I'll be here tomorrow, and I leave tomorrow at midnight.
Oh, true. Yeah. So I'll wait till you come back. We'll work it out. So how did you get linked up with this? I know Dennis. It's actually funny because he told me about this like a little bit ago, and then to see it like unfold, it's like reading a book, but the pages haven't been written yet. It's just being written page by page. I'm just going through it like, but yeah, how did you get into all that?
He just, Des is the oldest promoter, I think, in the country now, too, but which we talked quite a bit, and he was putting this trip together and mentioned it to me before, and we said, yeah, we're interested in doing it, and he just got the wheels in motion, and here we are.
Yeah, Dennis is the man. And he told me after this is done, he wants to bring some Cambodian fighters out here to fight in the US. So that's cool. Yeah. That's a cool little voyage he's gonna do.
I think so.
Yeah. How has this camp been for Wilson? Have you done anything differently? Or?
Well, I had a little injury with, I don't know if it's my back or my hip, so I haven't been able to pad him as much. So my other guys, Casey and my other assistant trainer, been working with him quite a bit. Wilson always stays. His maintenance is really good. His lifestyle stuff is really good, and but now I'm back full force. So he's already close to his weight. He's got good dietary stuff, conditioning stuff. So I expect him to be doing really well.
And where are you guys going to be? Where's your camp going to be at while you're out there? Do you guys have one in mind?
I don't know yet. I don't know where they're. I imagine they'll get a gym that we can train at, but there's not going to be too much the last couple of days anyway. It's mostly just making sure you're at weight. All I need is a fucking room or something, and I'll bring some pads, and we'll do that there. You can't spar or anything the last couple of days anyway because you don't want to risk injury. Mm-hmm. So I think it's more getting used to the acclimations of the weather and the climate and stuff like that. Being careful you don't get sick on any bad food and stuff like that, and resting.
When Wilson fought for Raja, were you cornering him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a pretty cool moment, right? It's like going from you being up there to now you cornering the next generation. Mm-hmm. That's got to be really I can imagine that feeling.
The first time he did, and he won by knockout, I cornered him. The second time I actually had I wasn't able to corner him because I got in a little motor scooter accident. I was riding on the back of a friend's scooter, and she wiped out, and boom, I just, it's riding on those scooters there is crazy, but I did all his training too over there, and we've done it before, and it was great.
Yeah, dude, the scootering out there. I mean, I haven't been to Thailand, but in Vietnam, they don't even follow the street signs.
Oh, no,
they drive on the sidewalk, dude. It's scary, bro.
Wilson, the first fight, he did great. The second fight, which I really, there's nothing we could do. I mean, it was, not my fault getting in the accident, of course, but he fought a really experienced Thai fighter, and it was a 3-rounder too, and you got to pick. Wilson likes the 5-rounders, so we got to really pick that stuff up. The other guy, he picked it up and he outpointed him, so that does happen. I don't want to say if I was there, it never happened, but pretty much, because you
got that bond, that communication.
Yeah, I'm really active with my guys, and once you work with a fighter too, you kind of know what makes them tick, mm-hmm. right? And there's certain things you have to do to light that extra fire, to maybe pick it up in the beginning, or have certain points to calm them down too. A lot of things is just staying calm in that storm, mm-hmm. And sometimes if you get too excited, your game plan is gone. Mm-hmm. So you staying calm is really important, and being able to step on the gas and take your foot off of it is vital.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, that's awesome. I can't wait to hear the story when you guys come back. I spoke with Wilson earlier, so hopefully I can
do it again.
Do it with him, and he can fill me in on the whole journey and what happened.
Sounds good.
Kru Walter, what else you got going on in your life other than Cambodia?
Let's see. I've been playing guitar a lot now lately. I'm in a band now, and playing old school heavy metal, which I like. I mean, I'm an 80s
Van Halen stuff.
Yeah,
dude, you're so good.
Eddie.
Dude, you guys are so good at the Muay Thai Wars. I'm like thinking back right now, and I was like, damn, they're like, I feel like I'm listening to the real Van Halen. You know, even your singer like had the cadence of Eddie Van Halen. Or it's Eddie Van Halen, right? I can't. What's Eddie with Alex Island? Oh, David Lee Roth. I'm sorry, but yeah, dude. So that was cool. That was incredible.
Cool.
So you got any shows planned for when you come back?
For the music?
Yeah, for the music.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do a private party with a motorcycle club in July, and we're looking at doing the Whiskey in Hollywood, Whiskey a Go-Go, and Old Town Pub in Pasadena. Yeah, a couple of little shows.
Yes,
so that's
you're active. You're more active in that than in fighting right now.
No. I mean, the fighting is number one. The other stuff is just like, I mean, we got to do something. It's all the same to me. I mean, I look at it. Same thing with dog training, or I was big into competition shooting for a while, still am. It's all martial arts to me. I mean, playing guitar is like, it takes a lot of skill and hearing and practice. And when you're doing Muay Thai, you have to think of new things to, new ideas, new combinations, new movements. Think of your own stuff, not just copy somebody else. We don't need YouTube. You should be able to come up, and a lot of fighting, you have to adapt to things on the fly, right?
Yeah. Things
change. What if this person all of a sudden, they want to be a southpaw? All your targets are different, right? So you got to handle that.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's all a common thread. I just like to stay active on, different level. You got to understand too, I've been playing guitar since I was 6 years old.
Yeah, I think I read your first band was at 13, I believe.
Yeah.
That's when I got into Taekwondo. I started at 10, but that was when I was doing Taekwondo. Was at 13. But you're like already far further in music than I was in Taekwondo.
Well, I came out to California to go to guitar school, and then, I put it down for years, and then Muay Thai took over, and I went to Thailand and did all that. And now, of course, I'm not going to fight anymore. I'm 60s. So, I'm going to...
You're 60?
Yeah, I'm going to coach and carry the message, the Muay Thai message. But yeah, Muay Thai's always been number one for me too. I play music for fun, but for Thai boxing is... a living, but it's still fun too. I enjoy it. I don't do stuff you don't enjoy, because that comes out. You can see when someone does not like what they're doing or what they're, involved in.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be around them either.
How did your parents feel like when you told them you wanted to go to California to pursue music?
They didn't understand it.
I can imagine. From Indiana.
Yeah. I mean, they wanted a 9-to-5 job type of thing, or like anybody else, be a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, but I was always to seem like I was now. I was into martial arts, and, I liked motorcycles. I liked playing guitar. I was a guitar fanatic and martial arts fiend. I just lived, eat, and breathe it, and like we said before, this obsession has to be the necessity.
Yeah.
So
they're just concerned because they're like, a musician, that's like a 10% chance of making it.
Yeah.
Do you have any siblings?
No
siblings.
I never had any. Yeah. Yeah, only child, and I don't have any kids either.
Indiana, though, I feel like a lot of people are having kids out there for some reason.
Probably nothing else to do.
Farms, right? Oh, that's interesting. Only child. Okay, so when you started fighting, were your parents supportive of that?
No, not really. I mean, they didn't really understand it either, I mean, my dad was a boxer, so he kind of dug it, but he was more happier when I was working as an electrician.
Yeah.
And I used to be an electrician for a while, too.
Oh, yeah. So you went to school for that?
Yeah.
So you're going to school to be an electrician and a musician on the side?
Well, I did the musician thing first. And then after the musician thing, and I got into Muay Thai too, I had to have a working job. So I had a buddy of mine, Dominic Valoria, who was an electrician. He ended up, getting me a job doing that. And then we both got into union, and then we went to union apprentice school and all that stuff. And, I hear guys talk about, well, I got too much work. I got too much school now. I can't really train too much, and this and that. I hear that and I think, the fuck? Because I worked construction. I went to apprentice school. I was married to my first wife, which didn't work out that good. And I was still in the gym 5 days a week, right? And I didn't get a lot of sleep or anything, but you know what? I had that work ethic and that drive to do it. So when I hear other people talk about, oh yeah, I don't have time now or whatever. Well, no, you don't want it enough.
That's
not, you don't have time. You don't make time.
Yeah.
Because I did it. And then when I was able to go to Thailand and do Muay Thai full time, I had the work ethic like the Thais. I think that's one of the reasons they accepted me too, because they saw that this kid, knows the grindstone on this stuff. Because I had done it before.
Yeah. Kids do not have work ethic, man. Yeah. There's this kid at my gym. I don't want to say his name. He's probably watching. I don't want to burn him. But he fought at some other gym before, and he came to our gym, and he told us he wanted to fight. So my coach told me and one of my friends, like, hey, get this guy ready. We're going to, get him a fight. I was like, all right, coach, bet. And so they gave me a date. We get closer to the date, right? And my coach was like, what do you think about X, And I was like, to be honest, dude, his work ethic sucks. He complains about everything. Doesn't show up all the time, and when he does show up, he's always like, do I want to? Why? So I was like, I don't think he's ready. The conditioning's not there, the mindset's not there. My coach was like, yeah, I agree. I just wanted to get your opinion, right? Fast forward, this was like months ago, so I was like, I'll just keep working with them. We'll get on track. And then I feel like it's like an uphill battle. We'll be doing good, and I don't see him for like 2 weeks. And we go back down a little bit, and then he's doing good, disappears again. I just told him, like, look, man, I feel like you're not that serious, So I was like, when you're ready to commit, I was like, we'll pick this up again. I was like, for right now, let's just kind of get your mindset ready. Just stop being so negative, and show up again.
That goes back. That's great advice too, because it goes back to the relationship between an athlete and a coach, where in your case, maybe a teammate, it's based on honesty.
Yeah.
And you being honest and telling them, hey, dude, it ain't happening. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a younger cat, so I don't know what's with these kids, coach. I don't know, man. When I was a kid, I was like, man, if I got any type of attention, I was just so happy. I was like, what do I got to do? I'm not going to lie. I'm naturally a lazy guy, But if I was told to do something, I would do it. And I wouldn't complain about it, Mm-hmm. I probably would just suck at it, But it's all good,
Right.
I don't see it anymore. Do you feel like you have that kind of problem out here?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. I mean, things are a little softer. Definitely. I think even more so after the pandemic. The stores close sooner. No one wants to, work. You get it delivered to your house. You don't even go to the store to buy something. And it's weak.
Yeah.
It's weak. And I'm just grateful that we went through, especially when I was coming up, it was hard. It was harder. But, and that's good. It's a good thing.
Yeah. So it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah. So we benefited from that. And the other guys, if they don't have the drive, you're not going to cut it. So.
Yeah. This is true. I feel like from what I've seen, I haven't seen American Muay Thai being put on like, the way I've seen other countries being put on. Like Europe has got good fighters. You got Holland, French and all them, have been doing good kickboxing Muay Thai. Obviously the Asians. I feel like nowadays you see like the Americans compete in like ONE FC, and it's like they don't do as good, And I was actually asking my coach, I was like, why is this, why do we keep seeing this? Is it the style or what? And my coach was like, it's just the work ethic, bro. There's no money and there's no work ethic,
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. But I think it's getting a lot better.
I feel like too lately. As of, I think the last few years, yeah, dude. But I just was like, for a while, I'd see ONE FC and I'd see an American fighter and I'd have my hopes up. And then it's like, and then it's like, and then finally we got Jackie Bluntane from Boxing Works. She just got the belt. I was like, yes, take one home for America, baby.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to see an American do well.
Yeah, shout out Boxing Works. Woo, Jackie Bluntane.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day we'll see one of your guys is out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Kru Walter, I don't want to take up any more of your time.
Thank you, Mo.
I do appreciate your time, guys. Thank you for listening. Kru Walter, do you want to, any message you want to give the world before we head out?
Well, I think we've pretty much said it all. You know, if you want to reach me, official Walter SYT on Instagram, and Sityodtongla.com is the website, and yeah, that's it. And I hope to see you soon. And good luck out there, guys, in the ring and in life in general. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Walter.